Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, OPM drops Claude and adds Grok and Codex to its list of AI use cases. And the Pentagon gets a new CISO with the appointment of Aaron Bishop. It's Friday, March 6, 2026. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. And now let's dive into the day's top headlines. The Office of Personnel Management removed Claude and added Grok and Codex in an update to its public disclosure of AI use cases dated Wednesday. Removal of Claude comes after a disagreement between its maker, Anthropic, and the Department of Defense over the technology's guardrails, culminated in President Donald Trump issuing a government-wide ban on the company late last week. In the following days, numerous federal agencies have made moves to stop using Anthropic's services, including OPM. While the changes to the disclosure were made at the same time, Grok and Codex were not added as the result of Claude's removal, OPM spokeswoman McLaurin Pinover said in a statement. The Human Capital Agency is constantly working to provide the best tools to the OPM workforce, and these initiatives were already underway, Pinover said. According to the new inventory, the first production use for both tools is listed as the first quarter of 2026. Pinover confirmed that the date references the calendar year, not the fiscal year. Grok, a product of Elon Musk's xAI, is listed as in production, and Codex, a coding-specific tool from OpenAI, is being deployed in a sandbox phase, which generally describes a kind of controlled environment. OPM also added several other systems that deploy AI to its public disclosure, including Wiz, Zendesk, Waze, Google Maps, and the Apple iPhone. All of those use cases were backdated to quarters prior to the current year, and all appear to be uses that are more commercial off-the-shelf systems. Removal of Claude from the inventory comes after the agency, like others, said it stopped using Anthropic services earlier this week. According to a statement from Pinover at the time, the agency was still in the initial steps of implementing the tool and didn't expect it to affect OPM functions. Claude was listed on the agency's previous disclosure as a tool used across OPM for summarization, drafting, and decision support, and was in a sandbox phase. Now moving on to other news, James Aaron Bishop has been tapped to serve as the Pentagon's Chief Information Security Officer and Deputy CIO for Cybersecurity, the department announced on social media on Thursday. He assumed the role of CISO in an acting capacity on February 27th, according to a LinkedIn post from the Office of the Chief Information Officer. In his new role, he'll work under the DoD CIO, Kirsten Davies, and be responsible for providing policy, technical, program, and oversight support to the CIO on all cybersecurity matters. Bishop previously served as CISO for the Department of the Air Force, which includes the Air and Space Forces. According to his Air Force bio, his prior jobs in the private sector include CEO and founder of the Quantum Security Alliance, CEO and founder of Eigenspace, Vice President and CISO for Science Applications International Corporation, or SAIC, and General Manager of Microsoft's National Security Group, among other roles. Dave McCune, who previously served as the department's CISO, Deputy CIO for Cybersecurity, and Special Assistant for Cybersecurity Innovation, plans to leave government service for the private sector, according to the DoD announcement. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back next week with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.